So the one thing that I think is missing from my landscape photography is the fact that I don't share it enough. So I thought I'd bring you guys along on a 9-day trip I recently went on with my good friend Julian out to Carnarvon Gorge in the west of Queensland, into some amazing scenery and with lots and lots of driving. So our first day on this trip we planned to stop at Nuga Nuga Lake, and we really had no idea what to expect. But entering into the area of that lake, we were treated with the views down to the Arcadia Valley, which was just this stunning place that I had no idea even existed, but to me it felt like it was reminiscent of the Midwest of the United States. With these huge plateaus rising above us on all sides, it really was a fantastic scene to drive through just as we were getting towards sunset. That golden hour light just lit up this place and made it look absolutely beautiful. I wish I could have even spent more time photographing this place, just because there were even some fantastic baobab trees in the area. But we really were in a rush to get to Nuga Nuga Lake because we really wanted to get there just before the sun dipped below the horizon, so we'd be able to get some photos of the lake in prime light. And my god, we really did get it perfectly timed going to that lake. Just as we were arriving in, the clouds were lighting up. It was almost as if the water was on fire with the red light coming off the clouds. And we were lucky enough to get out of the car just in time to take some photos of this. And that's what I'm going to put up for you guys to look at, just as a little taste of what's in store for this trip that me and Julian went on. And I'll fill you in tomorrow morning on more details of the trip and other photos. So after 8 hours of driving yesterday, we finally made it to our location around 6 o'clock, just as the sun was setting, to Nuga Nuga Lake. There was a good chance to scout the location, and I think I picked out a few compositions that I like from the spot. And I'm just framing up one here right now. Ooh, that looks lovely with the light. We take that. Yeah, even just this morning I woke up a little bit earlier. Before I took out the camera, walked up and down the edge of the riverbank, took a few photos to scout it out. A little bit of blue hour action. I think they turned out quite nicely actually. Lots of the birds were flying through the sky. Lots of bird life in this area, which I think makes for fantastic photos. As for this shot though, I'm just framing up that mountain way in the distance. You can probably see it there in your frame. But it just has some lovely light going across it, and a little bit of orange light on those rocks just on the right side of it. See if I can show you on the camera. So we're just looking at this as the framed up shot. Got the nice orange light on the mountains right there. Nice little layer of golden, I don't even want to guess what kind of trees those are, but nice white dead stick-like trees. I think they make for a fantastic composition. So go ahead and take this shot. Shutter speed is 1:250, f8, ISO 200, and let me know what you think. So I just walked a bit further down the water bank. I was thinking I'd do something with those dead trees that I saw on the lake just below the mountain, but as I was heading down, I became a bit, less and less inspiring. So I decided I'd maybe take a step into the abstract for now. What I got framed up right here is just a shot of the reflections of those trees out in the water. And what I'm going for is to sort of create some sort of surreal looking landscape image, which I'm sure is going to end up in black and white. And it's just going to look like, well, hopefully, don't know how it'll be with all the water right now. It's a little bit still for what we're doing here, but I'm hoping that'll look like the trees just sort of blend into the sky when I flip this image upside down. But at least that's the theory. We'll see what actually happens. So I'm shooting this one. Geez, same settings as last time. 1:200, f8, ISO 125, and just at 135 millimeters. And let's see how this one turns out. After that last photo, we decided to leave camp a little bit early and headed into the Arcadia Valley and begin our 2-hour drive to Carnarvon Gorge. And along the way, I captured probably some of my favorite photos from the beginning of the trip, and I'll share those with you at the end of this sequence, but it was really nice being able to capture these while also trying to fight the fact that it was getting close to probably 30 degrees by the time that we were taking these photos, and it was around midday. It was a pretty miserable condition to be taking photos, but at the same time, I really liked the fact that there was heat because I had some heat distortion in the images and it just made them look so dreamy and ethereal. I really loved the effect that it had on the images. But the drive out of the Arcadia Valley was just as nice as the drive in, so scenic and so beautiful. There were amazing trees all along the side of the road, and it really made the drive to Carnarvon Gorge very pleasant for us. And then when we finally arrived at Carnarvon Gorge, we were in for a bit of a surprise, both with the weather that we were going to have and the conditions that we drove into. So I'll share my images and I'll show you what we drove into. As we drove into the gorge, we were met with quite a strange sight just going down the road. There was a controlled burn happening just off the side of it, so we decided to stop and check it out. We had to walk through before we were quickly shooed off by a park ranger, but the hope was that we'd be able to capture some sort of composition where we use the smoke behind the burned trees as sort of like a foggy background. But it didn't end up working out, and we ended up just moving on to our campsite and to our first hike of the day, which would be our sunset hike. So since this morning, we've had a 2-hour drive. We've taken a few photos along the way of some baobab trees, and we finally arrived at Carnarvon Gorge, our main location for this trip. And to cap off the day, we're going to be going up to Willimba Bluff, which is going to be 3.2 kilometers up to the top and a whole lot of incline. But it's going to be good though. It looks like the sky's building up in clouds, and I reckon it's either going to be all or nothing with the light that we get tonight. Once we get to the top, hopefully it'll be pretty nice. Get some nice photos of the gorge, because we drove around 9 hours to get here, so it better be worth it. See you at the top. So we just finished our ascent up the bluff, and my god, that's the worst ascent I've done in a long time. Just ladders after ladders and stairs after stairs.
Oh yeah.
That was awful. Now we're just walking through the forest in front of the bluff. Now let's just hope that view's worth it, because I don't know if I want to do that again. But we did pass a really nice tree on the way up. A really, really nice tree. That's almost making me consider that might be a good idea to come back up tomorrow. I guess we'll see how we go. because that was awful to go up. We're gonna have to go right back down that in the dark. Well, we made it to the top. I said it was either going to be all or nothing with the light, and it's looking like in one direction it's absolutely nothing, but in the other we got some pretty fantastic light on those cliff sides. So we might be able to get at least one shot from today, but we'll send the drone up nonetheless, and hopefully we'll find something pretty nice. But time to get the camera out of the bag, see what we can do. Alright, so that must be the most rushed handheld pano I've ever taken, but the light is fading really fast, and just trying to get something, because it was really good when we got here, and by the second, it's just getting worse. Hopefully we'll be able to move a little bit further down the track, and find a better view looking off into the sun, because this is, even just as I'm speaking, it's done. It's done. So I just asked Julian what the time was, and here I was thinking, oh yeah, the light's fading, it's getting horrible. It must be sunset in about 3 minutes or something. It's 4:56. We still have an hour until sunset, so this is all in my head right now. There's still plenty of time to get some decent photos. So, we're gonna throw the drone up and see what we can see. So we repositioned a bit, and we're sitting on the other side of the ridge now. It's getting a little bit closer to sunset, and honestly the compositions are a little bit challenging here. It's hard to find that balance between getting a good location for a shot and pretty much falling off the side of a cliff, because this is really sketchy. But looking across the canyon, I found something that looks pretty interesting. Right along this canyon, it's pretty continuous the whole way along, but I've managed to find one part of it which has a little break in it, and inside of that break there's a little rock. So I'll show you what that looks like on the camera now. So this is what I've got framed up here. We have a little break in those rocks, and as you can see, it's just that little rock right there, and the two which sort of point into it. I think it's the best I can make of the conditions that I have. And the sun is pretty much just about to dip below the horizon. Yeah, it's just about to dip below the horizon over there, so I think we probably got about 5 or 10 minutes more of light, even if sunset isn't for a while. So take this shot, and let's hope that it's something decent. Sunset over the horizon. I think I've settled on my final composition for the night. Slowly the clouds are changing to that reddish lovely color, and I'm just going to sit on this one and wait to see what it does. I got a feeling that the clouds are going to go at least a little bit orange, maybe not red, but hopefully it'll do something. Be nice to have another photo for the night even after all the light's gone. So what I've got is just these ridges right here, zoomed in at I think about 135 millimeters, and I'll show you what that looks like framed up in the camera. So this is what I have framed up here. Just have those lines of the canyon just sort of leading you through the image, and then it just fades off into that mountain range in the background. Hopefully it'll be something nice. Those clouds may have some potential to change to orange. I think that could really add to the composition, but I sort of like it how it is now. Just feels like a pleasant blue hour image, I'd say. So take this image, 1:50, f5, ISO 500. Might bring that ISO up again, make it a little bit sharper, but you'll see in the final image. With that last photo taken, it subsequently brings our first day in Carnarvon Gorge to an end, and also this video. So make sure you leave a like, comment, and tell me what you think about the first video. And stay tuned for the next one. There's still plenty more to come in this trip, so I hope you follow along.